So I want to talk about the fragrance of the perfect life. So a bit contrasting to what Parmavaksha was saying earlier. When I got involved with the Friends of the Western Buddhist Order about 12 years ago, I quite liked the title Western Buddhist Order. I'm from Mexico, and I soon realized that even if I'm Mexican, one of the comments I get quite often is like, "Oh, but you don't look Mexican." Like I'm not brown or something. I don't know exactly what they mean. I'm not wearing a big sombrero. I only do on formal occasions, really. And so one of the things I identify, like I speak Spanish, I don't speak Mexican. I'm a product of a globalized world, and my consciousness is very much of a Western consciousness. And my attraction to the Western Buddhist order was the fact that it was Buddhism, but it was particularly concerned of how it will be expressed in my own culture, in the now. So that's kind of what intrigued me from the very beginning. What is a Buddhist culture now? And I think, it's been 50 years, and it's really just barely the beginning. And the main thing that I want to participate and see developing a lot more is this Buddhist culture. Is this, how does the Dharma will manifest in our culture, in our complex, fast-changing, complicated culture, And I picked this verse, the fragrance of the perfect life, because is often the image that gets given in the puja along the a stick of incense. You offer an incense which represents the fragrance of the perfect life, sweeter than incense, sweeter than everything. And it creates an atmosphere that people picked up. And as I was going around earlier, just sneakily filming bits of your rejoicing, I could see a few people have identified these attractive people, these beautiful people, this friendliness, this kindness. And sometimes it's not even that, actually. It's like you don't even know exactly what you're attracted to. It's a bit mysterious, and that's what I like of the aroma, the scent, is that it's invisible, but it does have an immediate impact. And it's funny as well, as I was walking around, it's very sunny, and the flowers are just quite smelly. And I'm not that used to flowers. I was funny, like I picked fragrance, and someone was just like, "Oh, I don't quite like that smell." That got me reflection as well, like sometimes how actually I'm not ready for the pleasant. We can't quite identify the pleasant, or we find the pleasant challenging or difficult to meet. I certainly do. Particularly if you have asthma or other things, you might find it more difficult. Anyway, none of that is in my notes. But anyway, so how are we going to create this Buddhist culture? In one of my favorite talks, Sanghadhara talk of evolution or extinction. As many of you might be familiar with, he uses evolution as an image or a metaphor to evoke or to represent a spiritual progress, a spiritual development, the becoming more a true individual, a person whose center of his life is more is not greed, but is more is compassion, is generosity, is not hatred, but is love. It's not ignorance, but it's can stand up with wisdom and with virtue against adversity. And I often think of this how difficult it is to be a virtual person. But anyway, in this talk, he gives 4 things that one must do in order for evolution, for growth to take place, and that we must do this very soon and quickly. In fact, I recommend you all to listen to that talk, Evolution or Extinction. And so within that, we need a system of practice, and I think we have a system of practice within Triratna. Not just we have the system, it's not just the Dharma alive in our community, but there is a community. There is a group of individuals or people who we have explicitly said we want to become more of a true individual, that want to develop ourselves. So these are the first 2. There is a system of practice, and that there is a spiritual community that support each other towards this progress. And the other 2 that he gives is withdrawing support for those institutions or group that promote greed, hatred, and delusion, to put it quickly, and to influence positively the groups that we inevitably part of or members of. And that makes me think as well of the impact that one can have, the subtle and invisible power of influence that an aroma can have, that a scent can have. And as a community, even though a stick of incense could be very small, but it can really perfume the whole room. So in a way, I was just thinking out of Lord of the Rings that I watch over Christmas, and how the tiniest creatures, the hobbits, can have so much, have the greatest impact on that world. Stick to the notes. I don't know who's timing me, but and actually I was just thinking let me read you a verse of the Dhammapada. Like a beautiful flower, brightly coloured, but without scent, even so useless is the well-uttered speech of one who does not act accordingly. Like a beautiful flower, brightly coloured and scented, even so useful is the well-uttered speech of one who acts accordingly. So we just don't have we don't just have the theory. We just don't have the Dharma. We need to walk the talk. So in terms of what I'd like us to do more in the next 50 years, is been more of that, carrying that scent more substantially, going ever so deeper. And I've got a minute left. And I do think it's been a bit mentioned through the day, yes, that how important, how crucial times we're living in right now. I felt like that the whole of my life. I think that's why I responded to evolution or extinction. I really feel like I must do something with my life. I must put effort into what's most important and meaningful. That's why I joined the order, and that's why I'm giving myself to the task of this project for the rest of my life. So yeah, I might be young and naive. I might not have much perspective, but I do look on Facebook. I do look on society, and I see so much the value. I still can see anywhere else or anything better that I could do with my life. There's a lot of good stuff I could do, but yeah, this is kind of the most meaningful and potentially useful things that I can see with my life. That's why I'm here. If I would find something better, I would probably go on there. But if I stick around, I think that's which I'm planning to. Yeah, that's why I'm here. And that, yeah, it is difficult. It's and I might read this last verse and tell you what that means for me. As pink lotuses, sweet-scented and lovely, spring from the heap of rubbish thrown in the highway, so among those who have become as rubbish, among ignorance, ordinary people, the disciple of the perfectly enlightened one shines forth exceedingly in wisdom. So I think that's what I'm talking about, what I found what I'm most passionate about is the beauty that we carry, and how that's going to manifest in a Buddhist, in our culture, how the Dharma is going to take expression. And that's kind of, I don't have answers, I don't have a clear image, but I'm just intrigued of that beauty that we can together create. And a beauty that is very rare and precious, even among ugliness, and we must stand ever more deeply and more beautiful, more truth, more lovely, more compassionate in a world of adversity. Thank you.